In this video, step into a 2026 home where rustic beams and soft, golden light wrap around you like a favorite blanket, and every room feels quietly cinematic and deeply lived in. This is Dreamy Decor's world of rustic luxe, vintage treasures, and wellness corners that invite you to slow down, breathe, and really see your space again. If this kind of warm, soulful design inspires you, remember to subscribe, like, and share your own dream home hopes in the comments so we can grow this cozy community together. Tonight, imagine the camera gliding through a living room where textured walls glow in candlelight, deep wood tones anchor the space, and plush fabrics catch the light like brushed velvet on film. You'll notice how every detail, from an old brass lamp to a worn leather chair, tells a story of comfort rather than perfection. As you watch, comment which corner feels most like home to you and tap the like button if you're ready to turn your own rooms into a rustic luxe sanctuary this year. By the end of this video, you'll see how 2026 trends, curved silhouettes, vintage touches, and gentle wellness spaces can live inside any home on any budget and still look effortlessly cinematic. Think of this as a quiet night tour through a house that loves you back, where design isn't about impressing guests but about healing the people who live there. If that vision speaks to you, hit subscribe and tell Dreamy Decor in the comments which room you can't wait to transform first. In this chapter, imagine walking into a room where strong, modern lines meet time-worn materials, like a sleek sofa framed by heavy wooden beams that have held stories for decades. The space feels grounded yet airy, as if the structure of the room keeps you safe while the styling invites you to breathe deeply and move slowly through the light. This is the heart of rustic modern, a gentle conversation between past and present, where clean shapes let the textures and memories do all the quiet talking. As the camera glides across the room, it catches the contrast of smooth plaster walls against a rough-hewn console table, the gray of the wood almost echoing under your fingertips. Metal details like blackened steel or aged bronze punctuate the scene, giving structure to all that warmth so it never feels messy, just beautifully intentional. It's the kind of design that looks cinematic from every angle, yet still feels like a place where slippers are welcome and coffee mugs are left on the table. Look closer and you'll see how rustic modern isn't about buying a whole new house, but about choosing a few strong, simple pieces that let your existing character shine. Maybe it's a solid wood dining table under a minimalist pendant light, or a smooth stone countertop sitting comfortably against old brick or textured tile. The balance of old and new makes the room feel both fresh and familiar, a place where your everyday routines suddenly feel like scenes from a quietly beautiful film. Imagine the camera drifting slowly through a living room where every vintage piece feels like a heartbeat, steady and soft beneath the more modern lines around it. A worn wooden chest sits quietly under a gallery of old frames, edges softened by time, while a delicate lace runner and a brass candlestick catch the glow of late afternoon light. The room doesn't shout with color or clutter. Instead, it hums with stories, each patina and scratch turning the space into something deeply personal and beautifully imperfect. As the shot widens, you see how these vintage finds anchor the room, giving it history even if the house itself is new. A curved armchair upholstered in faded floral fabric sits beside a small table, its surface just chipped enough to feel real, not staged, like it has hosted 1,000 cups of tea and quiet conversations. The blend of old and new makes the air feel thicker with meaning, like you've stepped into a memory that's still unfolding right in front of you. Then the camera pauses on smaller details. A stack of old books with cracked spines, a mirror with foxing creeping softly across the glass, a ceramic vase with a tiny, beloved chip on its rim. These are not perfect objects, but that is why they are so comforting. They prove that beauty can live alongside wear and time. In a 2026 Rustic Luxe home, these vintage touches are the quiet soul of the space, turning simple rooms into sanctuaries layered with emotion and memory. Picture the camera slowly panning across a living room where the colors feel like they were borrowed from a hillside at sunset, clay, caramel, and deep olive wrapping the space in a gentle golden hush. The walls hold a soft, earthy warmth. The sofa wears a muted camel fabric, and cushions in rust and moss seem to glow as natural light spills across their textured surfaces. Instead of bright, loud tones, everything is softened and grounded, giving the room a cinematic warmth that makes you feel held the moment you step inside. As the shot widens, you see how these earth tones flow from room to room, like a quiet color story tying the whole home together. A clay-colored throw drapes across the back of a chair, an olive green vase stands sentinel on a wooden console, and a caramel-toned rug anchors the floor with a sense of calm weight. The palette never feels flat, because each shade is layered through textiles, pottery, and art, giving the space depth and richness that reads beautifully on camera and in real life. Then the lens lingers on the way these hues interact with light. Morning sun turning a terracotta cushion almost amber, evening shadows deepening the olive in a velvet pillow, candlelight echoing the warmth of honeyed wood. In these moments, color stops being just decoration and becomes emotion, shifting subtly throughout the day like a mood you can live inside. In a 2026 Rustic Luxe home, these warm earth tones are the quiet soundtrack, making even simple corners feel like scenes from a beautifully graded film. Imagine the camera drifting slowly over a sofa layered with textures that almost whisper when they touch. Linen, boucle, wool, and a hint of velvet catching the light like a quiet shimmer. A knitted throw spills softly to the floor, a faded quilt rests at the arm, and a nubby cushion sinks ever so slightly under an invisible weight. The room feels like it's asking you to exhale and reach out, reminding you that in 2026, comfort isn't just how a space looks, it's how every surface promises to feel against your skin. As the shot widens, you see how these textures layer across the entire room. A wool rug underfoot, a woven basket overflowing with blankets, linen curtains moving gently in the breeze from an open window. Each material tells its own story, some slightly worn, some new but softened in tone, creating a space that feels lived in instead of staged. The contrast between smooth stone, rough wood, and soft textiles gives the room a cinematic depth, like a set designed not for drama, but for everyday tenderness. Then the lens lingers on smaller tactile moments. The frayed edge of a throw, the subtle sheen on a velvet cushion, the hand-carved grooves in a wooden stool beside the sofa. These tiny imperfections and details turn the room into a place your hands remember just as clearly as your eyes do. In a Rustic Luxe 2026 home, these cozy layers are the true luxury, quiet, humble materials that make every frame feel like an invitation to curl up and stay a little longer. Imagine the camera entering a room where almost nothing is sharply defined, where the eye is guided by gentle arcs instead of rigid edges, and the whole space feels like a slow, calming breath. A curved sofa cradles the seating area like an embrace, a rounded coffee table softens the center of the room, and a graceful archway frames the view into the next space. In this 2026 Rustic Luxe home, curves don't shout. They quietly soften the architecture, turning every angle into something more forgiving, more human, more cinematic to linger on. As the shot widens, you see how these curves repeat throughout the room, creating a gentle rhythm that feels almost like a melody. The edges of built-in shelving are subtly rounded. The back of a bench follows a soft arc. Even the rug underfoot has an organic, irregular outline that feels like a river flowing through the space. Against the richness of deep woods and warm earth tones, these shapes feel especially tender, transforming what could be a heavy room into something light, flowing, and deeply inviting. Then the lens pauses on the emotional effect of these softer lines. There is no harsh edge for the eye to collide with, no cold geometry to withstand. Instead, every curve gently redirects your gaze, easing you around the room with the same quiet care you might feel in a favorite sanctuary or spa. In a world full of sharp screens and constant angles, these curved silhouettes become a form of everyday therapy, making your home feel like a place that holds you rather than just housing you. Imagine the camera slowing down as it turns into a small corner of the room, where everything suddenly feels quieter, softer, and intentionally slower than the rest of the house. A low chair in warm, textured fabric waits beside a simple side table, a gently flickering candle, and a single leafy plant reaching toward the light. This little sanctuary isn't dramatic or complicated, but in the rhythm of a busy day, it feels like a secret pause button, a dedicated space where you are allowed to simply breathe. As the shot widens, you see that this wellness nook is carefully placed to catch the best light, maybe near a window where morning sun spills across a soft rug and a folded blanket rests within arm's reach. A small stack of books, a journal, or even a pair of headphones hints at quiet rituals, reading, stretching, meditating, or just staring out at the sky for a moment. The design is still rustic luxe, warm wood, cozy textiles, and earth tones, but the intention here is deeply emotional, a space designed not just to look beautiful, but to help you feel better. Then the lens lingers on the details that signal rest. A carafe of water with a simple glass, a tray holding essential oils or a favorite tea blend, a small lamp casting a soft, golden pool of light in the evening. There is no clutter, only a quiet clarity that invites you to slow your heartbeat and unclench your jaw. In a 2026 home shaped by wellness, these corners become sacred, reminding you that design can be a gentle act of care for your body and mind, not just your eyes. Imagine the camera entering a room just as the sun begins to pour in, washing the floors, walls, and furniture in a soft, golden layer that makes every surface feel gentle and alive. Sheer curtains move slightly in the breeze, filtering the light so it never feels harsh, only like a quiet, luminous hug wrapping itself around the space. In this rustic luxe 2026 home, natural light becomes the most powerful design element, turning even the simplest corners into scenes that look as if they were lit for a film. As the shot widens, you see how the room has been arranged to honor that light. Seating pulled closer to the windows, a reading chair angled toward the view, reflective surfaces placed just right so they catch and bounce the glow across the ceiling. The colors you've already seen, clay, caramel, olive, and deep wood, shift gently throughout the day, becoming brighter in the morning and richer in the evening. Nothing feels static. The room changes mood with the sky, like a living backdrop for your everyday rituals. Then the lens lingers on the smaller ways light touches the home. The way it brushes over textured plaster, deepens the grain in a wood beam, or casts soft shadows from a plant onto the wall. Even in dimmer hours, layered lamps and candles keep that sense of quiet radiance alive, echoing the warmth of daylight rather than fighting against it. In a 2026 interior that truly honors natural light, your home feels less like a static box and more like a breathing, glowing companion that shifts with you from morning to night. Imagine the camera moving through a room that looks quietly expensive at first glance, soft lighting, rich textures, warm woods, until you realize that many of the most beautiful pieces are actually simple, clever swaps. A basic sofa is elevated with deep, textured cushion covers. A plain coffee table feels special with a vintage tray and a stack of thrifted books, and an ordinary lamp glows like a designer piece thanks to a new linen shade. In this 2026 Rustic Luxe home, luxury isn't about how much you spend, but how thoughtfully you layer and style what you already have, turning small upgrades into big visual moments. As the shot widens, you see how budget-friendly choices quietly shape the entire room. Peel and stick textured wallpaper, giving one wall a lime-washed look. Affordable curtains hung high to make the windows feel taller, and simple jute rugs grounding the space with organic texture. A second-hand wooden cabinet becomes a statement piece with new hardware, and a few carefully chosen vintage accents add depth without requiring a designer budget. The camera lingers just long enough on each detail to show that Rustic Luxe is less about price tags and more about intention, patience, and a good eye. Then the lens focuses on the kinds of upgrades anyone can make, swapping shiny, cold finishes for warm metals, replacing one mass-produced art piece with a framed fabric remnant or vintage print, layering inexpensive throws and pillows and earth tones to echo the high-end look of the trends you love. Even the smallest decisions, a new lamp bulb for softer light, a thrifted basket for cozy storage, help the room feel cinematic and considered. In a 2026 home guided by budget-friendly Rustic Luxe, every smart, simple swap becomes a love letter to your space, proving that warmth and beauty are absolutely within reach. Imagine the camera following your hands as they gently sand the surface of a tired old side table, the dust lifting like history in the light while a new story slowly begins to appear. A coat of warm, matte paint and a soft, earthy tone settles over the wood, and new knobs, perhaps brass, perhaps ceramic, turn something forgotten into a little jewel for your room. In this Rustic Luxe 2026 home, DIY becomes a love language, transforming cast-off pieces into one-of-a-kind treasures that look beautifully vintage on camera and feel deeply personal in real life. As the shot widens, you see these DIY vintage moments sprinkled throughout the space. A mirror frame softened with lime wash, an old chair reupholstered in a faded floral fabric, a plain vase wrapped with twine or painted to mimic aged pottery. None of them are perfect, and that's exactly what makes them so magnetic. Each brushstroke and tiny flaw becomes part of the charm. The room begins to feel like a gallery of your creativity, a place where every corner holds a story of what it used to be and what you lovingly turned it into. Then the camera lingers on smaller, almost secret details. A hand-stamped label on a glass jar, an old picture frame turned into a tray, a patchwork cushion sewn from leftover fabric scraps. These pieces may have cost almost nothing, but together they add a richness that money alone can't buy, layering your home with character and memory. In a 2026 rustic modern space, DIY vintage moments are the heartbeat of the design, proving that the most beautiful rooms are not just styled, they are crafted slowly with care. Imagine the camera gliding slowly through your home as if it's moving through chapters of the same story, where every surface is styled, but nothing feels staged or overthought. A console table holds just a few meaningful pieces, a vintage lamp, a stack of books, a small bowl for keys, arranged with enough breathing room for the eye to rest. In this 2026 Rustic Luxe world, styling is less about filling every inch and more about choosing a few objects that whisper, "Someone really lives and loves here." As the shot widens, you see how the same principles repeat throughout the rooms. Layered textiles over simple furniture, art grouped thoughtfully instead of scattered randomly, plants placed where they can thrive and cast soft shadows on the walls. Shelves aren't packed. Instead, they hold a mix of books, ceramics, and empty space, giving each piece room to feel important. The overall effect is warm, edited, and lived in, a balance that looks cinematic on camera while still feeling practical and approachable in real life. Then the lens lingers on those small styling rhythms that tie everything together. Repeated colors, recurring materials, familiar shapes that appear from room to room like a gentle refrain. A touch of brass here, a clay vase there, a hint of olive or rust in every space connects the home without making it feel overly matched. In a 2026 interior, this kind of styling becomes a quiet language, helping your home feel cohesive, generous, and deeply yours, whether someone is walking through the door or watching through a screen. As the camera takes one last slow walk through this home, you can feel how every choice, each curve, each vintage piece, each warm tone and quiet wellness corner has turned these rooms into more than just a backdrop. They now feel like a sanctuary stitched together from light, texture, and time, reflecting not perfection, but a life that is being gently, beautifully lived. If this journey through rustic modern, vintage charm, and wellness-centered spaces has sparked ideas for your own home, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your favorite moment from the video in the comments so Dreamy Decor can keep dreaming with you. In the soft glow of evening, the earth tones deepen, the cozy textiles invite you to sink in, and those little white details catch the light like quiet secrets between you and your space. The house no longer feels like something you're endlessly trying to fix. It feels like a partner in your rest and your routines, a cinematic companion to your everyday life. Tell us below which corner you'd love to recreate first, your wellness nook, your vintage vignette, or your light-filled living room, and tap the like button if you want more 2026 trend guides just like this. As the final shot slowly pulls away, the home glows softly behind you, proof that you don't need a huge budget or a perfect floor plan to create something warm, soulful, and utterly yours. All it takes is patience, intention, and a willingness to layer your story one small choice at a time into the rooms that hold your days. If this video made you feel inspired, comforted, or a little more in love with your own home, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share your 2026 sanctuary dreams with the Dreamy Decor family in the comments so we can grow this cozy community together.